Hi guys, and welcome again in my bathroom. I decided to do another video here from my bathroom and just to be again supernatural, where we talk about what it's like working in retail fashion, how I started my career there, and how I went from working in retail fashion to having my own business. Because I have done a similar video in Bulgarian and talking about who I am and what I'm working, what I'm doing, and how I started my business. I thought it's a good idea also to do kind of similar video in English, because currently I see that my audience is mostly from Europe or USA, so it makes more sense to continue in English for now. So where should I start? I first started working in retail fashion. I think I was 19 years old maybe, and it was back in 2016 if I'm not wrong, and I started working as part-time sales associate, and it was for Inditex. For those of you who don't know Inditex, it's the company that is owning Zara, Massimo Dutti, Stradivarius, Bershka, Pull&Bear, and so on. I was working part-time for Stradivarius, and I had the best first experience starting in retail fashion. Working for such a big company for a start, I think it's really crucial. And back then it was still new for my country, like all the shopping centers and everything. People and employees and employers really did pay attention to what's happening. And I had the best manager, and I know she's gonna watch this video probably, so thank you for everything, and for everything she has taught me, because for when you're working in retail fashion and whoever is in that industry, you know that your manager and your team is the most important thing that you can have, and without that, it's just, yeah, you're just missing all of the opportunities and everything you can learn and get from this job. So this was the most important thing, and I worked as a part-timer in two of the big shopping centers in my home country, in our capital Sofia. I would say it was a great start. I had to quit because I had plans to go on a work and travel program with my friends in the US, and I had to take my exams in order to do that. So I worked for 6 or 7 months, if I'm not wrong, as part-timer there, and it was a great start, as I already said. Then moving on, when I got back from the US, I was still confused. I knew I wanted to start my own business, but all of my family, like my parents, were like, you're not ready for that, you need experience and la la la. At that time I didn't realize that, but after years passed, I'm thankful that I didn't, of course, listen to my stupid ideas back then, and of course had to start work in some other field, because in my country working in fashion is super hard to find a job, or it's really low paid. So then I switched to corporate job, and I spent there almost 2 years working for a big corporate company, and I hated that. I mean, now when I look back, of course you can achieve a lot in this company, and yeah, all of them saw my potential and everything I did, because every time I go and work for a company, I have always taken that, and I think it's my blood, it's the values and everything I do, and I do care. I take each company I have worked with as my own. I treat it as how I'm treating now my own business. So I don't divide that. But at the same time, I hate when I see that there are a lot of bad things happening, or there is something wrong, because this drives me crazy. And I worked, as I said, around 2 years. After that, I was like, no, I want to be in fashion, so I have to start looking for a new job. And I didn't want just to work for any brand or a company or go back to retail. I wanted to work for a company that has a potential and can teach me a lot, so I can start my own business. So then I found a company for men's fashion, and I just applied there with the almost 2 years and something experience I had, like when I started working in general. I just think that this was like I say it's a destiny nowadays, and that coincidences don't happen, because in order to get this job, I went to 3 interviews. Like the first shot they gave, first I had a phone call and like a phone interview. Then there was like an interview in person, which it didn't go really well, but they liked me so much that they gave me another chance. Then I went there for that, if I'm not wrong. So we had like 2 or 3 meetings. Also, I remember that when I was supposed to start there, I was still finishing my bachelor degree, and also I had to fly to Dubai for 10 days vacation. And I told them like, hey, hey guys, I have a vacation, so is that a problem? And it was just when my contract started. And they said, no, of course it's not a problem. So it was great. The company name is Oliver Wicks, and I would say that out of any brand and out of any atelier I have worked with, Oliver Wicks is my top one, and the best business. I had the best managers there and the best colleagues and everything. This is just like the perfect working environment and place for me. Of course, we have had our differences and a lot of things happen, but in general, that was that's in my top like 5. Then they hired me as a customer service manager. My salary first working for Oliver Wicks was not that big, but I was so focused on switching my career that I didn't care for that, because I knew that it's gonna give me so much rather than suffer in a corporate world. I do think that also in corporate world you can find your own place, but for me it was I mean, just the company, it was not what I was looking for, so I couldn't wait just to quit this job and go into fashion. So with Oliver Wicks, I spent around 3 years. First, they taught me, and we went through all the process for an online business and how it runs, because by that time I think that the owners of the company, the founders of the company, they have sold it to 2 businessmen who were from abroad. There were a lot of changes happening, but the atmosphere was just great, and they really did pay attention to each detail. And basically that's how I started. I would say that that's the period in my life when I started working in fashion and in business and in e-commerce, because before that, of course, I knew some things, but I was not that deep into them. I started also doing their quality control of their suits. They do custom-made suits as well as ready-to-wear. They produce both in Bulgaria, then they changed the factory to another country in Europe. But yeah, I started doing quality control, getting to know more about the fabrics. Also, I did my own things like sketching, learning more about different kind of fabrics and how basically a piece of clothing is made. So I started everything from zero. Also, just the atmosphere in the office, as I said, was incredible, and all of us do got along pretty well. And what happened, I think that when everything went down, as for any other business, is when COVID happened. This, of course, we had as a team a really big struggle, but at the same time, it helped me start my own business and go on the next step. I do not see COVID as a bad thing in some perspective, because we all know that in other perspective, as we say, a portal to hell opened for all of us, and a lot of things now are different. What happened during COVID is that I bought my first sewing machine. I do not remember now when I started a fashion course, but anyway, I started to be more interested in fabrics, and I wanted to go to fashion expos, and like one of the biggest fashion expos in Milan, which is called Unica, and I wanted this to happen with Oliver Wicks. Unfortunately, I didn't have this chance, even though we kind of spoke about it. But yeah, generally it didn't work out. Last year I went with my own business to Milano Unica, and it was incredible. So maybe it was for a good thing. Then I think it was around summertime in 2021 or 2020, I don't remember again. but like all of these years are just a mixture in my head, the past 5 years. But then they offered me a position as project manager, but I did not want that position, or event manager or something like that, because I was more interested as I'm always saying, into the fabrics and manufacturing and all of that. I just rejected this position and asked my boss back then if I can either stay on my old position and become part-time. I think I did 20 hours or 32 per week, because I really wanted to start focusing on my own business. What happened is, basically I switched to become a part-timer, and I think I worked for them around 1 more year or so. And after I didn't even finish my fashion course, I think, because again of COVID and of the restrictions and everything. But I just started doing more accessories and more social media content for the brand, and working with different kind of influencers who are popular in my country, and was really passionate to dive deep and just start this business. Then we went to Turkey. I had to start also making connections related to suppliers, and I started doing import from Turkey to Bulgaria of clothes. Then I started doing our website, like the official website of my business, and one of my best friends helped me with that. Like, we were doing both of our businesses at the same time, so it was really useful. And yeah, I think that I was still working for Oliver Wicks when all of that was happening. But at one point, yeah, we split our ways. This happened in 2021, I think, February, March or April 2000, because I remember that it was around the same time I started when I quit. But I think we were so bonded that I did keep a good connection with them. I still went to the office. They even gave me a chance to use their embroidery machine, because at the time I didn't have someone to work with and didn't have my own embroidery machine. So they were really supportive of me. Me feeling as an employee there, everything, I would say it was okay, 8 or 9 out of 10. Compared to other companies I have worked with before or after. So that was the perfect environment. Then I became fully self-employed. First, nobody in my family believed in my business and everything, because I do think, and also my parents, that business is not for everyone indeed, and not everyone can take care on their shoulders, I would say, having their own business. You need a lot of nerves, you need a lot of money and everything to start that. And at that time I put half of my salary, like I was living with my salary, and I did put everything in investment. I just had a small percentage of help after I was doing like the import from Turkey to Bulgaria. With the imports from Turkey, it was nice to travel. Also, my boyfriend back then was helping me a lot choosing the models and traveling to Turkey together, because my father was still living in Germany, and basically he was the support I need in order to carry all of that. I realized that a lot of brands are importing from Turkey, so I decided to focus more on the accessories. It was super hard to be self-employed, and I was like, maybe I should find again another part-time position or something just to support myself, but again in the same field, so I do not refocus. And I also finished my master degree, I think around that time or 1 year before. And I found a job at a really popular fashion atelier in Bulgaria. They are having like a similar business now to mine. I do not have an atelier, but I mean they have 2 online stores, and it was really interesting as well, because I got to see like the process from the inside, making all the patterns and seeing how you connect with your customer in person when they see how a dress that is made only for them fits. And it was so beautiful, and the owner of the atelier was also like so passionate about what she's doing, and also the other manager of the atelier. So I think also this helped me a lot with then starting my own Etsy store, because Etsy is a totally different platform than having your own website like on another platform, which is like the official one. I always admire and say the people and remember the people who have helped me, and also those who have made me struggle or were close to me or not close to me when I had success or when I did not success, or until this moment. But again, it started being super hard to grow a business and work for someone else, and also when I started the Etsy shop, so we split our ways, but we stayed in really good connection, in my opinion, with the atelier as well. Then I did one more internship with another atelier. It was an internship because I expressed interest working for them. And yeah, my hair is curly, but I hate this here, so that's what I'm gonna curl now. As I said, I started focusing more on the handmade accessories, and yeah, so then I bought my first sewing machine, we renovated my office, everything was coming together, but of course I was still missing something, and the missing piece is that Bulgaria has never been my main focus, and I wanted to grow a business that will expand internationally. And for those of you who follow me from more time, you know that I have lived for some time in the UK, so I was like, I need again to move abroad. Yeah, so then that happened. I was focused on moving abroad. I have mentioned my father lived here in Germany. I was coming back and forth the past 2 years, and I was like, maybe I should try something here. And I have always like wanted, since I had the vision of starting my own business, that I need to get experience from like on the bigger picture and work somewhere in a more international environment and have a big team, and just to see how that looks like. So what I did, I was like, I do have most experience, like I'm experienced, I would say, in both now, but I did have like a more professional experience working in men's fashion, and I really miss like doing custom made suits, ready to wear suits, because I really know all of the details like related to a suit, and I know just how to make you the perfect custom-made suit. And I remembered of Suit Supply because it was like a competition of Oliver Wigs, and I just emailed the HR because I did not remember at the time. I do think that they had open positions, but I want to feel more personal and ask whether Germany is an inquiry, and in order to apply. So what happened is I emailed their HR team here in Germany and sent my recommendation from Oliver Wigs. I got a really nice recommendation from the CEO of the company, shared my perspectives and shared my work experience and everything, and just asked them whether it's possible to apply for their positions that are open in Germany without speaking German. They replied me, I think within 1 or 2 days, that of course it's possible, they will be happy to see me, and I don't know, maybe a few days after I got an interview. But it was strange to schedule this interview. This is when the strange things, like this is when my father noticed strange things. I didn't notice them that much, because I was, at the time I was here visiting my father, and it was hard just to schedule this interview. So I was really persistent, and I emailed the manager that I'm here, I'm looking for his response, blah blah blah. And at the end we scheduled an interview. I went there. I was really excited because entering like international store and seeing how the team works at the same time, and I was really excited. I got the offer the following day. Like they called me, hey, we were so happy to meet you and we want you to become part of our team. I started as a sales support backend assistant, but at the end I was doing everything. Like I was doing style advising, I was from cleaning of the store, I would say, serving to customers, writing emails, taking phone calls, to doing like the stock room and inventory, accepting inventory, and anything you can think of that is happening in a store, I was doing it. And there were many red flags with this company. and all of the people around me were seeing them, but I was really focused on seeing how things are in the big picture and staying focused on that. And then until I moved my business from Bulgaria to here, I would say is that I really had a bad start, and maybe it was like a bad experience with them. And also we had like at the beginning some personal issues. And here's my advice, that you should never mix personal things with your work, and between employee and employer everything needs to be like that. Since my first day I noticed many red flags, because I think that when you start something on your own, also we have a guest house for now 8 years it's becoming, and when you have something on your own and you have already started a business that is in fashion, you have worked for a company who is doing like, who have treated you so nicely, and you have seen what a good management is, then you can notice red flags pretty quickly. And that's what I noticed with Suit Supply. So I would say that maybe it's not happening with all of their stores or as a company, even though you can just Google them online and basically read all the employees' review, and this can tell you a lot for the company. I do not want to go in a lot of details for them, but I met amazing people there, really professional. I couldn't wait just to quit from this job, and at the time I quit, I think that was the week when all of my paperwork was ready for my company here in Germany. I was so relieved when everything started here for my company. I got to explore Germany and what it can offer me, and start like to settle more and more here, and focus on my language, focus on my business, focus on my social media, working with marketing agencies, working with PR agencies, go to events, just to be surrounded again and do again what I love. So that's how I transferred from working in retail fashion to fully to my business again here. Of course, as I mentioned, there are a lot of disadvantages here in Germany when you're working for yourself and you want to become fully self-employed. And I'm experiencing that because in Bulgaria it was so much easier, like everything was so much easy to handle, like accounting, the suppliers I had there, and the connections. Turkey was just 500 kilometers from me, and it's no secret that I do stock from Turkey, I do stock from Italy, from Greece, and I just have, I would say I have many connections now, but I do have like 10 that are really crucial for my business and for myself, that I would like to keep for years, or help other people who need to find good people to work with and good companies to work with, who can trust them and grow their businesses together. I think that summarizes how I started in kind of started in fashion and retail fashion, what I did and how I transferred. I shared like not many details, but I think you got the idea. And if you want to learn more, I will be open to make a part 2 of this video, or share more specific details or a journey I have had. I just want to share that I think it's important, it's really crucial for your life, the people you surround yourself with and your team members, and to be in one clean environment in order to spread positivity and to motivate each other, to inspire each other. That's really important, and that's what I was always looking for, and will always be looking for. It doesn't matter if I'm working in corporate or fashion retail or having my own business. And don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and comment if you have questions. I'm sharing all my social media down in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video.